One of the things that I think concerns me is the conformity pressures that I think are creeping into our society. Historically, we've argued that we do a much better job than Asian societies in particular because we have much fewer conformity pressures. I'm not sure that we should be so self-congratulatory on that. I had a cousin's child we were visiting, and she was talking about how upset she was. He'd gotten an F on a paper in first grade, and it was a coloring exercise, and he had colored outside the lines. Now, I know many educators will tell me, well, we don't make them color inside the lines, but let's just keep with me for a moment. He had colored outside the lines, and he'd gotten an F. It was a picture of a cat. And what the little boy said is, cats don't have lines, they have fur. And he had made the cat have fur. And what I worry about in education, whether we make them color inside the lines or not, is in fact, there's an awful lot going on in our education system that's about coloring inside the lines, of not really encouraging the kind of individual exploration in topic areas. And it seems to me that in all areas of curriculum, and we're as guilty of this as higher education as the lower, that there seems to be an awful lot of effort to control curriculum, and I believe it's misguided. And let me tell you why I think it's misguided. We've gotten very enamored with content, and that people learn content. I had occasion to teach in Asia, and people talked about the educational model in Asia is the student is an empty vessel, and the professor's job is to pour them full of content, to teach them things. I also know a truism, which I absolutely believe in, is that education is what's left over after you forgot everything you learned. And if all education is about is content, and you're going to forget all that, what's left? I believe there are many, many more important things that are learned in education, and that the obsession with content, which is expressed in testing and a lot of things that we're doing in education, is very misguided. We're losing the opportunity to motivate people to be engaged with learning, to be excited about projects. I was thinking about, in my own experience, some slightly irregular sorts of assignments I had in college career, and I had a class in differential equations in which all the students that were in there were non-math majors. They were in other disciplines. And instead of giving us final exam, the professor gave us a semester project in which he wanted us to write a paper explaining how in our own field we might use differential equations. Talk about a liberating experience in a differential equations class you didn't actually think you wanted to take. To actually go out and find the things that were intriguing about it. David McCullough was the speaker, a well-known author. He wrote Truman. He's written the book 1776. He was the speaker at the U's graduation commencement. I think the evening before, he made a comment the night before. He had taken a history class once where it was announced at the beginning of the class that dates didn't matter. And the fact that dates didn't matter in his history class is what got him interested in history, because ultimately the dates weren't the important lessons of history. And so those are one of the things that I worry about. And the other side of this is it's just another type of an obsession with the regulation in our society and telling people how to be and what they should know. I'm very worried about, in our educational environment, the emphasis on what I see as winning rather than learning. And it's a notion that you get ahead by taking tests, and other people fall by the wayside. There's too much about winning. Interestingly, in every aspect of our society, we expect success to come through teams and success to be through effective teamwork. It's every sector of our society except in the education sector, where we put so much emphasis on individual achievement. As I mentioned, I'm really worried about the emphasis on testing because I'm not sure that what we test for is actually knowledge that is enduring. Think about taking a chemistry test in 1870. If you had that test today, everything that was a right answer on that test would be wrong. How much of what we're testing students on today is wrong? One of the great controversies right now happening in American language research is people who study grammar. And one of the kind of holy Bible of style and grammar is Strunk and White. Everyone believes and would say it's a great style guide. The grammar is atrocious in it, and it's full of examples in its own language about bad grammar. It uses bad grammar in the book. Our SAT and ACT exams are based on basically an intimate knowledge of Strunk and White. And we are testing students, do they know that, when the current knowledge is it's a very flawed document and a bad way to teach people grammar. It reflects a century ago, and believe it or not, we're actually in the new century. It reflects usage of a century ago. And all of this is about winning, and I'm not sure that that's the best theme for education. Is really possible for everyone to succeed in education. What a novel idea. One of the subjects I get to teach on occasion is performance appraisal. And one of the points I always make to the students is, we have this entire huge apparatus of hiring good people. We try to hire really good people. So when we assess their performance, it's okay if they're all good. We tried to hire all good people. And our education is very much like that. We try to prepare all of our students to be good, but there's so much losing that happens in education that I find disturbing.